Good. Yesterday we were continuing talking about the redemption, the GEULA, putting godliness into the world. The exile is really potentially good. Everything is potentially good. Potentially good. We just have to reveal the light. We have to turn the lights on. We have to put the Aleph into the exile. So let's do this. We did this a little bit yesterday, but let's do this. Just give them over. Says the Rebbe, so we have to understand. What does it mean putting the Aleph into it? Says the Rebbe, is that we have to simply be aware of the Creator, and that the Creator has a plan. That's what we're talking about. We talked about it in the Mimer. By means of going out of Egypt. What happened when the Jews went out of Egypt? It says they took all of Egypt with them. They took the riches of Egypt. They even took Egyptians with them. In other words, they elevated Egypt. Then they had to destroy what they leave behind and destroy things. In the future redemption, nothing is going to be destroyed. Like I said, there's going to be certain people that they hate the Jews so much that for them to be destroyed will be better than to be in a world where God rules and the Jewish people are rulers, the Nazis, the communists, whatever it is. These people, they can't stand any idea of Torah, mitzvahs, who knows, the Pope, all these people that they hate Jews, they hate Judaism, they hate anything that's connected to the rabbis. Right? Though that's a pretty weird cases. I don't think there's going to be too many of those people personally. A lot of those people, they believe in what they believe because they're succeeding. It's just going good for them. And they don't see God. And the Jewish people don't believe in God. So why should they believe in God? Right? But when Moshiach makes the Creator revealed in the creation, when he turns all the Jews back to their senses, to their Jewish identities, then the whole world will drop all their stupid religions, all their stupid ideas, and the whole world itself will be elevated. Will be elevated. I'll tell you this. This is what I thought yesterday. Maybe this is the best example, right? Perhaps the biggest enemy to Judaism is Christianity. I mean, it's all based on destroying the Torah. The Torah says this. The Torah doesn't say like the rabbis say. The Torah says this. It doesn't. So the Rambam says that this is, they're trying to destroy Judaism, they're trying to destroy the Torah, they're trying to destroy the Jewish people, they're trying to destroy God. They made another God, trying to destroy. But there is, because of this religion and their insane drive to destroy Judaism, so they brought all these ideas of Judaism and they redefined them, but they're advertising these basic ideas of Judaism, namely that the Torah is true. People didn't even know what the Torah is. The Torah is true. The Torah they twist all the sentences of the Torah. They pervert all the ideas of the Torah, but they say that the Torah is true. Moshiach, there's going to be such a thing as Moshiach. Moshiach is going to come. He's going to save the whole world. Son of God. The Jews are the son of God. Here we've got a guy who's the son of God, right? Someone's the son of God. That's really, that's connected to God. That's more important than the angels. Well, that's really true. The Jews. But it's true about everything. Like that's an idea that they twisted. The fact of the matter is the Son of God is really important. Who's the Son of God? Every Jew. Every Jew is the Son of God. Right? When Moses wanted to take the Jews out of Egypt, God said, go into Paro and say, my sons, my chosen ones, Israel. B'ni B'chor Yisrael. So the fact is the Jews really are the sons of God. So these idea of the Torah being true and Mashiach coming, and that there's such a thing as commandments, right? Even though their religion says there's no more commandments, just to believe in this guy. Okay, that's totally false and evil and destructive. But the fact is they say that there is such a thing as commandments. So that's the idea of exile, GEULA, right? All these ideas have been perverted. they're lacking godliness. They're lacking the truth. Aleph is emes. But as soon as truth is put into it, then all these people will realize there's 2.5 billion people that they believe there's such a thing as Moshiach, and they believe there's the Son of God, and that they believe in the Torah, and that they believe in the commandments, and suddenly they'll realize that, whoa, what? Now we see what it really means. And all these things will suddenly take true meaning to them. That's what it means. The ideas will remain, and the gullus will remain. But by putting Aleph into the truth, suddenly they'll realize, wow, Son of God, that's every Jew. The commandments, that's every commandment in the Torah. The Torah, that explains what the commandments are. Right? So suddenly the whole thing will make sense. So that's what it means. The GEULA, the biggest enemy of Judaism, will become the biggest friends. All these ideas that were advertised all the world, suddenly people will open up their eyes and say, oh, now we see what it really means. Until that the whole reason that the Jews left Egypt was to receive the Torah. They'll take the Jews out of Egypt, Tavdunat Elokim, the Jewish people will serve God on this mountain. So it ends up that the fact that the Jewish people were in this terrible, evil exile, darkness and idolatry of Egypt, it came out to be a good thing. That first of all, they took the riches of Egypt out. They even, convinced some of the Egyptians to leave their idolatry, and they brought the whole business to the Torah. GEULA, a revelation of Anochi Hashem Elokecha. That's the Aleph, by the way, we're putting into the GEULA that took you out of Egypt. Both in the panim is face to face, God spoke to you. Shalomaylam Yagila, this is even higher than what we said about, up to now we said the Aleph, putting the Aleph into the world, was the creator of the world. But the Anochi of the Torah is above just being creator of the world. This is the reason why God is creating the world. Alufo Shalom means that God is the king of the world, how God is creating the world and conducting it. Bereshis Borei Elokim at the Shemayim Ba'oretz. But the Torah is even before the world. Kod Magam Lamaila. This is even a higher level of revelation in the world that elevates the world to what God wanted when he created it, the reason for the world. That's the Torah. So first of all, the big Aleph is to know that there's a creator. That's Aleph. Then there's also a higher level of Aleph, which is the Anochi. Aluf Chachachma, Aluf Chabina. God teaches us why he's creating the world. Allah has kama v'kama, how much more so Kamaduba when it's talking about the true redemption that then will be Nosaf al Giloi, not only will be revealed in the world, the king of the world in the whole world, there'll also be revealed in the world godliness, which is above the world. Ayla told those parrots, like it says, these are the parrots. So first of all, the first stage of Moshiach will be that the world will be the way it's supposed to be, right? It'll be the way, there won't be any more war, no more famine, no more lacking, no more evil, no more ignorance. The world will just be a natural, normal, healthy world. That's step number one. Then there's going to be the second step. There's going to be revealed miracles in the world, something higher. Parents, the whole world, that Ayla told us Hashemayim Ba'oretz. This is going to be a higher revelation in the world than just a healthy world. Until it'll be something completely new. It'll be something much, much higher than just the redemption that there was when we built the second temple and when we got out of the exile of Bavel and etc. We came back. Then the world will be a new world. Like God said, I will make a new heavens and a new earth. It's a sentence from Isaiah. Let's see where it is. Isaiah, Samachay. That's when he says also the Torah is going to be new. Namely, not just that there'll be a healthy world, there'll be a godly world. We'll see godliness. Gilei Elokus, revealed godliness. Penimius Atik, which is called the inner level of Atik. Atik is the level of God's crown, God's pleasure. Ad legila atzmos, there'll be the revelation of God's essence in the world. Dira b'tachtonim, like I said, the world will be a dwelling for God. Ad until shelo lo yeh esek, that the whole world will only be interested in knowing God alone. Therefore, Yisrael chachamim gedolim, the Jewish people were very, very wise. Now the world, what's the world filled with now? The world is filled now with boredom. People are bored. The world is filled with emptiness. People are empty. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know what to do with their minds. They don't know what to do with their bodies. They certainly don't know what to do with their souls. The world is totally empty. Totally empty. Things are going on in the world just from pure emptiness, from pure boredom. There's no reason, there's no purpose, there's anything that pops up in your mind and your desires, just do it. Just do it or think it or whatever. Maybe make a sex change. Maybe that'll make my life more meaningful. Of course it doesn't. So let's get rid of the police. Maybe that'll make life more meaningful. Let's do something. You have to make change something. Right? It calls from emptiness. There's no emptiness. The world is empty. So first of all, it says Moshiach, the whole idea of Moshiach is to fill the world up. The world will be a good world, a normal world. After that, the world will be filled with not just good, healthy, normal nature. It'll be filled with godliness. The whole world will be interested only in knowing God. Therefore, you, Yisrael, the Jewish people, will be wise people, and they will know hidden things. The Jews, Yesigu das Borum, they will know the mind of their Creator. According to the ability of man. Like it says, or it's Deus Avaya, like it says, the world will be filled with the knowledge of God, like water fills the ocean. Another sentence from here it is where, no, the Rambam brings it down, but that's another sentence from Isaiah. It's another sentence from Isaiah. Isaiah is talking a lot about what the future redemption is going to be. And like I say, there's a lot of, the Christians take all these prophecies and they twist them around, they contort them, and they deform them, and etc. But the fact of the matter is that there's going to be a new world. That's the truth. There's going to be a new world. The Jewish people are God's chosen people. God will bring the Jews back to Israel. There is such a thing as Jews, and the identity of the Jews is determined by the Torah. Whoever's mother is Jewish or converted according to the Torah, that's a Jew. And these people are Jews. They will be brought to the Holy Land, and they'll be revealed that Jews are a different type of people. They are God's people, and they will teach the whole world about God. Therefore, the Jewish people will be great wise people, and they will know hidden things, and they will understand the awareness of God. They'll understand what God understands according to the ability of man. Like it says, Malay Orts, the whole world will be filled with the awareness of God, like water fills the ocean. The world will not be empty anymore. It will be filled. People will feel that every instant of their life is a big miracle, and that they have a tremendous ability and obligation to make the most of their potential and make the world a better place. That's why God created us. And then it says that the Torah will also be alive, will become alive, just like the world is the same world, but it becomes alive with godliness. It's going to be the same thing with the Torah. Kashem, just like the Al Derech, that there's going to be this going out of Egypt. It was a preparation for the giving of the Torah. Also, the future redemption, when the world is filled with godliness and there's no more war, there's no more sickness, and etc. This is going to be a preparation for the revelation of the Torah. What does it mean, the Torah? The inside of the Torah. The secrets of the Torah, the secrets of the Torah, and that, by the way, we're getting a glimpse of now in Chassidut, in the teachers of Chassidut Chabad. Until Torah Chadasha Me'iti Teitzei, until the Midrash says that it's going to be a new Torah that's going to come from you. What does it mean, a new Torah? That the Torah that we get will be totally, it's a pasuk from Isaiah, But Isaiah doesn't say that a new Torah. The Torah says Torah me'itetzetze. The Torah just says that in the Midrash, Vayikra Rabbah, it says a new Torah. That idea of new Torah comes from a Midrash. It doesn't come from the Kalas Rabbah. Look over there and see. But since you call in, since all these things are high, shalom be'erech be'giluyata of lufa shalom, nichlalim, geula muchrachim nomu. We can say that all of this is hinted at geula, and it comes from gola. It's all the things in the exile. Nowadays, there's a big thing. I remember when I was a child, when I was much younger, there used to be these the comic books, Superman and these things, and then when I was young, they just started television. There was a Superman program. Remember Superman? I think you can still see him on this. So that was like a big thing, Superman. There was a man, a human being, and he had eyes and ears and mouth and everything. And he was just a normal person, but he had these superpowers. He was a super powerful person. His eyes were not stopped by physical things. They could see right through. And he had all these, he was strong and he could bend. What do they say? Faster than a speeding bullet. What they used to say, faster, this more powerful than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet. I remember we kids used to tie towels around their neck and jump off of chairs and things like that. There were kids that jumped out of buildings, God forbid. Right? Anyway, there were. What does it mean? It means a person that has potential and it reveals his potential, right? Superman had us believing that it is somehow or other in the potential of everybody, even though he only revealed it. But people can be like that. There's such a thing as a person that's like that, right? That's like that, to reveal his potential, right? And nowadays, I understand it's a really big thing there. In all these movies and things, people with these supernatural powers, like Spider-Man and Dog-Man and Cat-Man and whatever it is, Ant-Man. All these things, in other words, people reveal powers that they didn't. Okay, so in other words, this whole idea that we're not what we are able to be, that we have potential, this is ingrained in humanity, right? And once in a while, there stands up somebody who's a genius. He reveals the genius of people, right? You can especially see this by the blacks, right? And the blacks in America, they brought the blacks. They thought that they were. America, I think America was the least ones that brought slaves. They thought that they were just like sort of animals, like interesting animals look like people. And all of a sudden, they started getting educated and they realized they're geniuses. They're just exactly like everybody else. They're geniuses and they have talents and they're nice, they're kind, they're everybody else. So we see that there's potential inside of people. Potential inside of people. And the potential is not just to be an animal. Right? The potential is to reveal kindness, to reveal intellect, to help the world, to reveal cures, to reveal solutions, to improve the world. And this is an ability of everybody. That's the first Aleph that we're revealing, the Alufo Shalom, the potential in the world. But then there's something higher, the creator of the world, to reveal right. Then it says that the God, the creator, will be revealed in the creation. So that's what we're waiting for. That's the idea of Moshiach coming, to reveal the good, which is hidden inside of everything, and then even more to reveal the godliness, which is inside of everything. And that's what's going to really interest people. That's what's going to really interest people. We see the Rebbe said many times, the one big thing that we can learn from World War II is that the solution to world's problems cannot come from culture or from intellect or from progress. We see that the Germans were the most intellectual, philosophical, what do you want to call it? The ethical, people that had books on ethics and books on what is good and bad and what is reality and what is not, and they had these fantastic the philosophers and intellects and this, and you see what came out of it. I mean, new inventions of destroying and maiming and injuring and causing pain and suffering that never existed before. Right? New ideas. The same thing with the Japanese, right? We're just the Western people. Japanese were tremendously developed and intellectual and progressive people. They had the best planes in the beginning, best planes and ships and ideas and conquest and this, and they killed tens of millions of people. You know how many Chinese they killed? So we see that if there's no godliness, if there's no Torah, how many people the church killed? If there's no Torah, then the whole thing is just, the world is meaningless. So as explanations like this. So that's what says the Rebbe, that's the whole idea of Moshiach, is to reveal the godliness, the goodliness and everything, and then to reveal the godliness and everything, to make life precious. Well, B''s explanation is, and the letter, in this physical world, not to go to heaven. The goal is not to go to heaven. Right? That's basically an evil idea. To say that this world is nothing. Who cares about this world? This world is bad. It's evil. We got to get out of the world. Right? The holy people, they don't get married. They don't have children. Children, marriage. What do I call it? Right? Exactly the opposite. The more people in the world, the better. This world is holy. Potentially. When we see that it is, then everybody's going to be full, happy. The letter Aleph. Let's explain it. The letter Aleph. We did this. One second. Did we do this? 1 minute. I skipped. I went back up. 1 minute. 1 minute. No. What happened? Oh. Okay, so then that's the higher level. That's called Aleph. That's Ulpana, teaching. Aleph chachma, Aleph bina. I will teach you understanding. Teaching, that's the Torah. Giloi Elokus, revealing godliness, and the future redemption will be, in addition to the fact that godliness and the creation, namely the power of the Creator in the creation, as we say in our prayers of Rosh Hashanah, Yodea called Paul Ka'ata Palto. Even more, there'll be godliness which is above the world, like we said before. That's the letter of the Aleph, in which is called Chachma and Bina. A new understanding of God that's above any of the emotions. That's what it means. There'll be a new world and a new Torah. This will be done by means of the revelation of the Torah that will come after the first level of redemption, where there's revelation of the Creator. Then there'll be the revelation of the Torah. Like it says, 2,000 years the Torah was before the world. 2,000, of course, there was no time before the world was created. It was only 2,000 years. The language that comes from, the Proverbs. Aleph chachma, I will teach you. Aleph means to teach, and Aleph also means 1,000. So it means I will teach you wisdom. Aleph chachma, Aleph bina. I will teach you wisdom. I will teach you understanding. Where does it say? I have to look and see. Then afterwards, we reach even a higher level, which is called the Aleph, the third level of Aleph, that God will fill the world. Pella. Pella means miracle. GEULA and Niflaot b'GEULA. Higher than the Creator, higher even than the Torah, the Creator Himself. Like it says, God says, like the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you even greater miracles than when you left Egypt. Kolel, especially the miracles in the Torah. Like it says, Gal Einai, open up my eyes and I will see the miracles of your Torah. Giloi Penimis Torah, the revelation of the inside of the Torah. So Tameh Mischar Umistar Tzfuneha, the concealed reasons of the Torah, that this on their own are wondrous. Gamzem Mitkala, this will also be revealed in a way of Ulpan of a Limud, will be able to learn and understand this. Balashon, Chasidut, in the language of Chasidut, Besfirut. How do we understand this? According to Kabbalah also. Aluf Shalom, the first level of the future redemption. There's 3 types of Aleph that we have to put into GEULA. The first Aleph is that God is the king of the world. This refers to what's called God's kingship, Malchut. That God is revealed, Melech Amlichte Lamaila, that we make God rule above and below and the four directions of the world. That's what you're supposed to think when you say Shema Yisrael. That's the source of the world. That's one level of Aleph, a higher dimension of Aleph, which will be revealed after that. That's Ulpana, teaching. Aleph Chachma B'Aleph Chabina. This is the aspect of God's intellect, God's wisdom and understanding. Mochin, intellect, which is relevant to God's emotions. God's emotions is the 6 days of creation. Shalamayla Mi'olam, it's above the world, but it has a connection to the world. That's the second dimension of Aleph that will be revealed in the redemption. And when we can internalize the second level of redemption, namely the Torah, then there'll be Pele. What's Pele? Pele is the aspect of God's intellect on its own. Sometimes it's called God's crown. Etzem HaMochin, the essence of God's awareness, until it comes to the level of Keter, God's crown, which is infinitely higher than the world, will reveal how amazingly high this world is. That's like the idea of the raising of the dead. You do, and it's known, Shekat 8, that now the main service is the Birush Sheva Midos. Now the main work that we're doing is to refine what's called God's 7 emotions. And also it's called Kivush Sheva Artzot, conquering the 7 nations of the land of Israel, spiritual nations, right? The Jewish people are living in Israel, but the Eretz Israel and the Jewish people living in Israel are totally controlled by non-Jewish ideas and influences and etc. That's what we have to work on now. And use our mind, what's relevant to our emotions and our values and etc. Which is not the case in the future redemption. There will be avoda the mochin mitzarasmo. There'll be pure awareness, pure understanding. That will be kibush shlosh artzos. Then it says it will be revealed 3 more lands. Now God promised to Abraham the land the land of Canaan, where there lived 10 nations. 10 nations. And Moses only conquered, Yehoshua, of course, Joshua only conquered 7. Right? With David and everything, only conquered 7. What about the other 3? It says the other 3, that's going to be revealed in the days of the Moshiach. It says that's Ammon and Moab and Edom. That's the 3 nations. I guess these 3 nations are also on the other side of the Jordan River, so we'll conquer them also. We'll conquer much more than that. Conquer the nations will give it to us, but free will. There is a similarly also in the revelation of godliness that's going to be in the future redemption. Nosaf, in addition to the Koach HaPol, Benifel, in addition to the fact that there's going to be revealed the Creator in the creation, there'll also be revealed the Creator above the creation, but also there's going to be revelation of the essence of God below. Because we have to understand the world and God are not really 2 separate things. God just made it that way because he wants there to be a world, and he wants us to do his Torah, and he wants us to do his commandments, and he wants to transform this physical world, the GEULA, to transform it. And only through this world can we reveal all these big revelations. Only through our work in this exile can we reveal God's essence. It's not that God has just hid himself and all of a sudden he just, here I am, it just pops out, I was just fooling. No, God wants us to be, the exile itself has a tremendously important purpose. That's what the Rebbe is trying to get into our minds. Namely, that we have to work with it. We have to use it properly. We have to utilize it. We have to learn the lessons from the exile. We have to do Torah and commandments. We have to think about God. We have to get emotional about God. We have to serve God in the exile, that will bring these three stages of redemption. First of all, we'll see the creator in the creation. Then we'll see the reason for the creation. And then we'll see just pure miracles. That's above any sort of expectations, even greater than the miracles of going out of Egypt. The power of God's essence will be revealed specifically in this physical world. As we'll continue, God willing, tomorrow. See how far we get. And there's a lot to go, but there's a lot of good stuff here. Okay, good. And let us now do the Yom Yom. And if we're bringing it's a Hasidic get together. These are sayings by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. So it said, my father was speaking once at a big Hasidic gathering, and someone said to my father, this is the father of the previous Rebbe, the fifth Rebbe of Chabad. The previous Rebbe was the sixth Rebbe. And the previous Rebbe said, the altar Rebbe's Hasidim were always doing Sfirat HaOmer, their whole lives. Their whole lives they were counting. My father liked this, and he said, this is the service of man. Hours must be counted. They must be utilized. Then the days must be counted days. When a day passes, a person has to know what he has accomplished and what remains to be done. A person should always see that tomorrow should be better than today. We should always be counting time. Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, God willing, at 3 o'clock, we'll learn the Chumash. We'll try to complete the commandments of this week's Torah portion. We went through them in a very quick way, but they're interesting. The 63 commandments in this week's Torah portion. We'll learn more of the Torah portion, and I hope I won't forget, like I did yesterday, and we'll learn at least one mission of Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the fathers. See you at 3 o'clock. Have a good day with Moshiach now.